Welcome back to Pharaoh Kings. In our last episode, we followed Ramses down the Nile, discovering how he extended Egypt's borders and made himself master of the richest lands in the world. But Ramses II was not only a warrior. He was a creator. A king who believed that stone could speak louder than words and that monuments could make him eternal. In this episode, we walk through the temples, statues and architectural wonders that earned Ramses the title of Egypt's greatest builder. The vision of eternity for Ramses, building was more than showing power. It was about sending a message to gods, enemies and future generations. I was here. I am eternal. He commissioned more temples and statues than almost any other pharaoh in history. Wherever you traveled in Egypt or from the Delta to Nubia, you would see the face of Ramses carved in stone. Through his monuments, Ramses transformed Egypt into an open-air museum, one that still amazes us thousands of years later. Abu Simbel, the temples of the sun. Perhaps the greatest achievement of Ramses II was the construction of the magnificent Abu Simbel temples in southern Egypt. Carved directly into the cliffs of Nubia, four colossal statues of Ramses sit at the entrance, each standing over 20 meters tall, gazing over the Nile. These giants were not just art, they were a warning to Egypt as southern neighbors of the pharaoh's power. Inside, the temple is aligned with the sun. Twice a year, light pierces through the darkness to illuminate the inner sanctuary, shining directly on Ramses' statue. This was no accident. It was a message written in sunlight, proof that Ramses was favored by the gods themselves. Next to it stands the Temple of Hathor, dedicated to his beloved queen, Nefertari. For the first time in Egyptian history, a queen's statue stands equal in size to the pharaoh's, showing the depth of Ramses' devotion. The new kingdom building boom had begun with Hatshepsut and continued with Thutmose III, but it was Ramses who perfected it. He took the idea of a mortuary temple, meant to honor a dead pharaoh and serve as a place for his ka, or soul, to reside, and turned it into a grand monument valley. His own mortuary temple was the Ramesseum. Its ruins still stand near Thebes, although most of it was destroyed during the reign of his successor. Although ancient records describe it as breathtaking, filled with colossal statues, endless halls of inscriptions, and stories of Ramses' victories carved in stone. One statue alone, known as the Ozymandias Colossus, weighed over 1,000 tons, so massive that even today, its broken pieces inspire awe. And it wasn't just temples. Throughout Egypt, you can find obelisks and statues erected by Ramses. In Luxor, two obelisks pierce the sky, each over 20 meters high. They are the tallest standing obelisks in the world, a reminder of Ramses' obsession with reaching ever higher, both in life and in death. Even the Great Sphinx at Giza wears a Ramses-like beard and headdress, a subtle nod to the pharaoh who dared to challenge its ancient guardian. Some believe that Ramses II expanded the existing temple complex at Karnak, while others argue that he began his own. But regardless of the debate, Ramses left his mark on every major temple site in Egypt, adding chapels, statues, and columns decorated with his royal insignia. But Ramses didn't just want to build new things. He wanted to take existing monuments and make them his own. At Abu Simbel, he reused the unfinished temple of his father, Seti I, expanding it and making it grander. Similarly, he took the Great Sphinx of Giza, an enigmatic monument predating even Khufu's pyramid, and claimed it as his own. He may have ordered the famous beard added to the Sphinx's face, aligning it with himself. And though the evidence is debated, some scholars believe he even tried to move the Sphinx closer to the pyramids of Giza, perhaps to rule over the necropolis from the afterlife as well. Ramses was a builder in the biblical sense. He saw a barren field and declared it a palace. He saw rough stone and imagined a masterpiece. He saw the face of a bull and proclaimed it his own. To Ramses, nothing was too small or too great to bear his likeness. He used everything, from tiny scarab beetles to gigantic temples, to declare his greatness across the land. By the end of his reign, Ramses had built or rebuilt more temples and monuments than any pharaoh before him. The sheer scale of his building projects required thousands of workers and a well-oiled bureaucracy to manage. Architects, engineers, sculptors, scribes, quarrymen, laborers, they all worked under Ramses' direction to bring his vision to reality. Each temple, each statue was a testament not only to the pharaoh's power, but to the genius of the Egyptian people. Building in stone was a way to speak to future generations without words, a silent conversation across millennia. And Ramses spoke volumes. A legacy written in stone. As you wander through the halls of Karnak, stop for a moment before the Black Chapel of Amenhotep III. Inside, look up at the ceiling and you will see Ramses once again. Here, as a young prince, he prayed with his family. Further on, as you reach the great hypostyle hall, look for the fallen column with a childish drawing of Ramses hunting a lion. There, in the shadow of these giants, he played. And when you stand before the colossal statues of Abu Simbel, remember that each line, each curve, each hieroglyph was put there by a human hand. These were not magic, but men and women with hammers, chisels, and dreams. Each piece of stone was chosen, shaped, and placed by those who lived and died under Ramses' gaze. Their skill made these monuments possible, their sweat and blood immortalized in stone. These monuments were not only symbols of power, they were acts of immortality. Each temple, each statue, each inscription was Ramses shouting to the future, "Remember my name," and it worked. Even the Greeks and Romans, centuries later, looked upon Ramses' works and called him the greatest of kings. Today, tourists from all over the world still stand in front of Abu Simbel or walk through the Ramesseum in awe, proving that Ramses' vision of eternity truly succeeded. But behind the crown and the stone was also a man, a father of over 100 children, a king who would live to an age few Egyptians could imagine. So to continue exploring the incredible life of Egypt's greatest builder, be sure to tune in next time to uncover the final chapter of Ramses the Pigeon. What secrets does his legacy hold? What happened after his death? And what was the secret to his record-breaking reign? All that and more in the next exciting episode of Pharaoh Kings. Thank you for joining us on this journey through ancient Egypt. If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. With your support, we can keep bringing these stories to life. Now it's time to ask you a question. What do you think was Ramses' greatest accomplishment? Was it his building projects, his military campaigns, or perhaps something else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. We can't wait to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember the spirit of discovery is alive in all of us. Thanks for watching.